Okay, check. We're live. I think. Let me just check the levels very quickly. Yo. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yo, Counter Attack podcast with myself, Daps. I don't actually know what I'm talking about. I was gonna do like a little short one. To be honest, when you guys see this on internet, when you not see this on YouTube, I'm probably gonna split it up into, a couple short ones. But if you listen on Spotify and whatever, you're gonna get the let me pronounce my THs. You're gonna get the whole thing all in one. So if you are listening on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, wherever you're listening to, make sure you like, subscribe, share. Guys, leave a rating, leave the comments. Like, let's get the engagement up. And yeah, we're gonna move. So obviously we got more guests coming on, but I'm trying to get back. Like, I know you guys like the guests and everything, but I know you like the hot topic ones as well, where we actually talk about things on the podcast. So I'm definitely gonna get back to that and try and get that out to you as well. So yeah, just let me know, guys, in the comments and stuff like that whenever something needs discussing. But I put on my Instagram today of things that need to be spoken about, or suggestions that people think. Sorry. Yeah, let me just get my bearings. Or suggestions for topics today. And I'm just going to run through them and see what, people are saying. So one that did come up quite a bit was Paul Pogba. And on my podcast, I don't really like to talk about Paul Pogba because I feel like it's like the go-to topic for a lot of people when they have nothing to talk about. Just talk about Paul Pogba. But over the weekend, he was booed as he was walking off the pitch. And to be honest, I don't know what to say about that, because we all know that the media here in this country have done such a great job, ruining his image, his reputation, that, it makes it seem like it's warranted. And anyone that actually really, watches football will know that Paul Pogba is one of the best players in the world. It's very rare when you actually watch football that he actually doesn't perform. And that's for me. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't watch the match, the Man United match over the weekend against Norwich when it happened. But then I had to go back and actually watch it again yesterday, because I didn't want to give an opinion on it. And, I didn't want to say, what my real opinions were, knowing that he might have had a bad game. But I watched the game with Paul Pogba. I watched Paul Pogba against Norwich, and I made sure I looked closely at him. And I actually thought he was actually one of the better players, if not the best player on the pitch. I didn't understand why they took him off anyway, but that's a conversation for another day. But had he not performed in that match, I would understand. But he was the only one trying to make things happen. He was the only one trying to pass forward. There's other players that stank out the place. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to always go back to like the Bruno Fernandez's and everything, but Bruno Fernandes stunk out the place. He's been stinking out the place for a very long time, but you'll never catch him, getting booed. Instead, they'll hand him a new 5-year contract. But when it's Paul Pogba, he plays well, he does what you ask him to do, even though, can I add, yeah, if anyone is gonna, be playing out of form or be out of sorts, it should be Paul Pogba. Do you know what I mean? He don't know what he's doing next year. He's got that hanging over him. Every time he walks on the pitch, there's a next level of expectation from everyone, even though a lot of them are booing him, but they still have that expectation that he's gonna do something, and they still look to him. So I don't know. You got other players in the team. Maguire doesn't get booed, Bruno Fernandes doesn't get booed, and whatever else. But I think, we all know why at the end of the day. Do you get what I'm saying? We all know why Paul Pogba gets booed. His face doesn't fit. The media have made him an easy target, made him the scapegoat, so that when there are other people within the team who should be getting the blame for whatever, you know, they don't get the blame. And Paul Pogba's the go-to person. Do you get what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I just think Paul Pogba just needs to leave that club. I know there's talk of him getting a new contract and stuff like that, but why would he sign a new contract? Why would he ever want to stay at United? Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm glad he came out, and normally he's quiet with when these things happen, but I'm glad he came out and spoke about it. You know, talk bad, talk good, he still gets paid at the end of the day. And it's good that he came out and said that, because listen, there's only so much someone can take when they consistently keep his name in their mouths. They consistently talk down on him. They consistently make him seem like he's actually performing below par. So with the whole Paul Pogba situation, go to where you're loved. There's a reason why when it comes to playing for France, you know, that you see a completely different player. And I'm always playing with better players. That's always going to help. Playing with better players. And also playing where you're loved. Playing where they actually value you. Playing where, you know, you can actually go and express yourself and not have the negative pressures that come with playing for, you know, Manchester United and whatnot. So, yeah, 100% he shouldn't sign that contract. Obviously, this is just me talking. I don't know anything. But, you know, him staying, I can't see it happening. Instead, he should come to Arsenal. That will ever happen. But, yeah, no. But that is, in terms of Paul Pogba, that's all I really have to say. Like, you know, when I had Kabasele on the podcast the other week, and Watford's Christian Kabasele came out and he said on the podcast, of all the players he's come up against since he's been in England 5 years, Paul Pogba is his toughest one. Paul Pogba is the one that has wowed him the most. Do you know what I mean? Declan Rice, who everyone knows is a very, very good player. Declan Rice has come out and said Paul Pogba is unreal. Like, the professionals who actually play football are coming out saying Paul Pogba is ridiculously talented and he's ridiculously good, and they always find it difficult playing against him. But, you know, the media and a lot of them who have never kicked a ball before will have you thinking that he's the problem. They'll have you out here thinking that he's rubbish and he doesn't know how to play football. So when I say that the media have done a very, very good job, you know, with tarnishing him and making the scapegoat, they've done it. You know, they've taken the attention away from people who aren't performing as well, like Maguire, like Bruno Fernandes, and anyone who doesn't have a brain and doesn't actually take in football will just follow that and just boo Paul Pogba. So, yeah, Paul Pogba was one of my favourite players, even though he plays for United, and he needs to pack his bags and go. And it's only when you know, you see him playing for a Real Madrid or, I don't know, Barcelona or Juventus, wherever he goes, or PSG, that people are now going to be like, oh yeah, he's such a good player, whatever. But you've had that player all along. But he's playing in a team that isn't built to, you know, to show him in the best light. That is, even though he still plays well, you know, he's surrounded by players who aren't on that level. And that is the be all and the end all of it. Do you get what I'm saying? On that team, United team, I can, Ronaldo, I'm all right with Sancho. Bar them two, I'm really struggling. Do you get what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm not even going to say any more on that. They're wrong for booing Paul Pogba, but, you know, I'm sure come the end of the season, he'll make his decision, and, yeah, that's it from me in regards to Paul Pogba. Let's go through the next one on the list. Oh gosh, Arsenal. All right, cool. Let me just do this quick. You see, Arsenal, yeah. In January, I said it was a big mistake letting Aubameyang go. The only reason why I would have been the only way I would have been okay with Aubameyang going is if we had a suitable replacement coming in, if we had brought a striker in. So we didn't bring no striker in. We didn't really strengthen anywhere in summer. I mean, during the January transfer window. And, you know, the argument that people came back to me with was, oh, but we've only got one game a week and the squad should be able to hack it. So now, look, we've lost against Crystal Palace, lost against Brighton, lost against Southampton, and we just look so spineless. Even with Tottenham losing, that was our chance to, you know, regain, you know, ground on them and, you know, get level on points. But I was watching a match and at no point did I ever feel like we were going to score. I think with this Arsenal team, when things are going well for them and they're flying, everyone's good. But once their backs are against it, once it comes down to being in the trenches, this Arsenal team suffers. And the only way that you're going to deal with that is, number one, you know, the young players getting the experience. So they need this, and they're going to be better for it. I'm sure of that. But also get the experienced heads in. Get the people who, like, can just get the other people around them to just pull their socks up and get them over the line. Do you get what I'm saying? So, number one, a striker. And the thing is, I like Lacazette. Anyone that knows me knows I like Lacazette. But I'm under no illusions that Lacazette is not going to fire us into Champions League places. He's not going to suddenly just score 10 goals out of nowhere. So, I'm happy with Lacazette as a second striker, but we need a proven goal scorer. Lacazette is not that player. So that's where we fumbled. Also, we need characters. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and it's an interesting one, actually. I'm just going to caveat or segue? I don't know, whatever the word is. Liverpool have Jordan Henderson in their team, and a lot of fans, Liverpool fans and whatnot, they don't really like Jordan Henderson. But I always say, that every team needs a guy like Jordan Henderson. Every team needs a player like Jordan Henderson. He might not be the greatest on the ball. He might not be the most technically gifted, but he's got enough about him to influence his teammates, to pull their socks up. And when they're in the trenches, those are the players you need. So I say that to talk back to Arsenal. You know, I'm pretty sure, I'm not saying Jordan Henderson in our team would mean that we would win, but Arsenal need characters. Arsenal need leaders. We need players like Jordan Henderson. Do you get what I'm saying? When you go through all the top teams, you know, they always have that player who they can look to just, you know, battle, fight, be in the trenches. And then they've got the other players who, you know, they can go and play with. Do you get what I'm saying? Back in the day, United, you had the Roy Keanes. Don't get me wrong, these guys can still play football, obviously. You had the Roy Keanes, you had the Nicky Butts, you had, who else? Nicky Butt, Darren Fletcher, Park Ji-sung. Do you get what I'm saying? You also had the other gifted players. Arsenal back in there, we had Emmanuel Petit, we had Ray Parlour, we had, obviously, Vieira could play. Like, we had guys that would, you know, just were comfortable in the trenches and were able to just do what was necessary to just get over the line. But Arsenal, we don't have that. So now that we've got a couple of injuries, you know, Tomiyasu's out, we've got Partey out, Lacazette was out the other day. Like, those are the games where it might not be pretty, but we need character. Character will get you through those games. Don't just fold. Do you get what I'm saying? And Arsenal are a team that folds. And that's the reality of the situation. So now, top four is looking like a myth, especially when you see the run-ins that we've got. Well, we still got Chelsea, still got United. Have we got Liverpool? No, we ain't got Liverpool. We still got Tottenham. Mate, and I can't see us winning those games. So, you know, I'm not just going to be here and just be like, Arteta, because Arteta definitely he needs to take accountability for certain things, but also the players themselves need to take accountability. So, I don't know, it's just not good enough. And, you know, this week we have Chelsea, think we have Chelsea on Wednesday. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm not hopeful, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But Arsenal need to really sort it out. And top 4, even top 5, is slipping away, and it's looking like the best Arsenal can hope for right now is Europa League. So yeah, that's all I have to say on Arsenal. It's not good. It's not looking great. But also as well, I need to say this, that as much as I'm saying it's not Arteta's fault, or you can't just blame Arteta solely, I think these are the games where it shows what a top manager can do. So Tottenham, their team, to be honest, I don't think Tottenham's team is that great. But what Tottenham do have is a world-class manager who can see them over the line, who can get them playing in a way where it's just about just get the results out. And on top of that, they have a man that can just bang goals out of nowhere. They have a top striker. I'm not going to say world-class, but he is a top player. So, yeah, not looking great, but we move. Yeah, so guys, just make sure you keep liking, subscribing, and all of that. Next subject that someone told me to... yeah. So, I need to find out who it was, but I can't remember. I can't remember. But yeah, basically, yeah, someone messaged me in regard to topics to talk about Sadio Mane. And I've mentioned it a couple times on the pod, where I was having a discussion with someone earlier on in the season when they were telling me Sadio Mane is finished. And I just want to talk about why we're so quick to write off players. I don't understand it, and I think I really struggle. I really struggle with that, and I struggle with how, you know, a player can be top and a world-class player in this era, in this day and age, but overnight, people can just write them off and rubbish them and call them rubbish. And earlier in the season, I was talking to someone. Well, I was going back and forth with someone on Twitter about Sadio Mane when they said he was finished, and I was just like, it's crazy. It was actually crazy. And now, as the season goes on, you know, if I'm being totally honest, Sadio Mane, even though Salah throughout the season has been getting, you know, the plaudits and whatnot, for me, Sadio Mane has been the guy that has, you know, performed the best and is performing the best in these crunch times. Do you get what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, Salah, you know, he isn't scoring at the rate he has been scoring for most of the season, and that doesn't mean he's rubbish or whatever, but I'm sure the goals will come again. But Mane is the guy, out of all the strikers that they have, Mane is the one that has to play. Mane is the one that is first name on that sheet for me. Do you get what I'm saying? And I just think we just need to be mindful when we're just so quick to write players off, because I think people forget that form is a real thing. And even with his form, I never actually thought Sadio Mane was actually out of form. I just think that the levels he set over the last couple of seasons were so high that as soon as he didn't reach those levels, you know, people just said, he's rubbish. But the levels he was performing at, even though they might not have been high, I mean, as high earlier in the season as they have in previous seasons, was still good level. So I don't know, man. I just think, you know, when we look at players and, you know, look at their form, let's not be so quick to write them off. Let's not be so quick to just call a man rubbish just because, you know, their form's a bit off. Because at the end of the day, there's no one, bar Ronaldo and Messi in their peaks. You're not really getting players do that level all the time. And I think Ronaldo and Messi kind of skewed it for everyone, because that's never been the case. It's never been the case. You're going to get, you know, players that go up, players that go down, form goes up, you know, form goes down. And it's that old, you know, thing of classes form is temporary, class is permanent. So, yeah, man. But I'm good. I'm glad that Sadio Mane is back to, you know, doing his thing. So, yeah. That's it on Sadio Mane. And I've already mentioned Henderson in that team. And that, for me, you know, he has to be around. He has to be playing. Maybe not, you know, week in, week out. Maybe not first name. You know what? I'm not even mad if he plays first name on that sheet. I'm not even mad because you need, I said it earlier on, you need a Jordan Henderson. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you don't go with him, at 100% at some point in that game, he will need to come on. He will need to come on. Whether that's to give the team a little lift or to just shore things up and see how to get, like, Jordan Henderson, his importance to Liverpool. And to be honest, I'm saying this, but I'm pretty sure players who play with him will already think this. And also, you know, management or whatever will already think this. But, you know, again, you know, the fans of today just see a man and just think, oh, he can't ball. He's not as good as Thiago. He's not as good as, so we don't need him. Listen, there's certain things that certain players, you know, bring that is, you can't quantify it. So Thiago, let's just say, I love Thiago. All, like, the technical ability in the world. Fabinho, we can see what he does, like, straight. But you see what Jordan Henderson brings to a team. Them sort of players, you can't quantify it. You can't put it into words. Do you get what I'm saying? It's about influence. It's about impact. But I don't expect a lot of people to you know, unless you've played the game at some sort of level or unless you really take in football, you wouldn't understand that. And that's not even me trying to be condescending or whatnot. But, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah. Right. So, what was it I wanted to what else did I want to say? I wanted to talk about, this one wasn't a topic that, in fact, you know what? Before I go on to that, I was watching Jermain Defoe on Rio Ferdinand's podcast, and he was talking about strikers being better back in the day or in previous eras than they are today. And he was just like it starts with the kids, because when he talks to kids, all they want to do is just do skills and set up people and assist. But when he was younger, the goal was to score goals. Like, you just wanted to score goals, and I actually do believe that's a thing now. And Bradley Wright Phillips was on my podcast saying the same thing and saying that it's the wingers now. It's the wingers that get, you know, that are like the hot ones, you know, the ones in demand, and the wingers get all the goals. And before, the wingers were there to set up the strikers, and I found that really interesting because it's a constant thing that keeps coming up, and, you know, and a lot of pros are saying, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it, you know, you're seeing the fact that strikers, it's not like they're dying out, but there's a real lack of quality strikers out there now. And back in the day, every team, not every team, but most teams, especially in the Champions League, you know, they had a top striker. You know that, you know, the defense had to be on point because there were strikers all over the place. Do you get what I'm saying? But now, you know, mentioned this, you know, before, and there's not that many top strikers around. And Jermain Defoe was talking about, you know, he was trying to get into the England team with like man like Teddy Sheringham. Mate, if Sheringham was playing today, problems. Do you get what I'm saying? And he wasn't even like, you know, seen as that one of the best in the world, but he was just a really, really good striker. And I'm seeing it now, and I'm just trying to think, will that come back? Will the art of striking, would a, you know, will strikers come back into the game? Because when you do get good strikers, you know, they go for big money. Big money, because it's almost like it's a dying breed now. So when you do get them, you have to lap them up. You have to snap them up quick. Do you get what I'm saying? We saw Vlahovic go for 75 mil or 70 mil, whatever. But he's not worth 70 mil. He's not. Do you get what I'm saying? Imagine how much the Batistutas would go for. Imagine how much Ortega's would go for. Imagine Eduardo, even Eduardo, who's just... If Eduardo was playing football today, Eduardo that was at Arsenal, I'm talking about, stupid. Romario, obviously the real Ronaldo. I'm just trying to think of players, but Robbie Fowler, Kevin Phillips. I know I'm showing my age here. But it's the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, there's a real lack of real quality strikers out there, and I'm just trying to think whether or not it's going to come back, and I really hope it does, because I feel like as much as, you know, we love football and we love the wingers and whatever, there's nothing like, you know, a striker that just puts the ball in the back of the net. Do you get what I'm saying? Defoe himself, if a younger Defoe, prime Defoe, easily walks into, I honestly believe he easily walks into any of the teams, any of the top teams. Yeah, I actually believe that. So, I don't know, that was just a random thought in regards to strikers, and, you know, if they're going to come back, and, you know, how we look at strikers as well is, you know, it needs to change and everything. And I think that's why when we do get certain strikers who score a couple goals, all of a sudden we're like, yes, he's the next one. You know, and then we get like, okay, let me talk about Benzema, because I haven't really spoken about Benzema recently. Benzema, you know, we're looking at him now. In fact, I'm not even going to say we're looking at him now, because anyone that listens to this podcast knows we've been championing, well, Lamin hasn't, Benzema for a long time. But it's like, you know, those Champions League nights, where he comes alive, it's like, wow, this is what strikers are really there for, because they're there they're the money man. They're the ones that score the goals to, you know, in decisive moments. And there's nothing like a striker who's banging form on those nights. That's why, for me, Man City failed. Man City failed in Champions League, you know, before. And I think they're going to fail again, because I think when it's crunch time, you need a top striker. You need a top striker. And I think there's levels to it. There's absolute levels to it. That's why we love Harry Kane in this country. We love Harry Kane in this country because he scores so many goals and whatnot. But then I think people looked in the Champions League and saw what Benzema was doing at the highest level, elite level. We saw what Benzema was doing. And then all of a sudden people are like, you know what, you might be the best in the world right now. But they were just calling Harry Kane the best in the world. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think sometimes you just have to just sit there and just let people play football and let it pan out, and then, you know, the cream will always rise to the top. But anyway, yeah, no, that's my thoughts on all of that. You know, the media do a lot of, you know, whitewashing. Oh, sugar. That's not even brainwashing. That's the word I'm looking for. The media do a lot when it comes to brainwashing and putting narratives out there in regards to how good a player is and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? The media here in this country especially had people thinking that Harry Kane's the best striker in the world. Don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against him, until the Champions League came, and then people really saw what a real striker does at the highest level. At the highest level, a real striker turns the game on its head. A real striker shows up. Get me? Look what Benzema was doing in the Champions League, or what he's been doing in the Champions League, what he's been doing all season long. A lot of people who don't watch anything other than the Premier League aren't privy to. So they just thought, oh yeah, Harry Kane, because that's what they're pushing down. our throats every week. Even though first half of the season did absolutely nothing, but we're just going to ignore that. And he scores a couple goals now, and he's the best until Champions League happens, and then they're just like, yeah, this is a serious guy. So yeah, guys, let's just try to think for ourselves. Let's just try to, not follow what the media or what this pundit says, that pundit says. Let's just take a moment and just, form our own conclusions when it comes to these players. Because what we normally see is that after a while, the good players who the media don't lift up, they're the ones who eventually the media will become late, will be late to the party and start praising them. And then you've spent all the time following them that you've not really taken in these players. So yeah, man. That's literally all I have to say on that subject very quickly. But Jermain Defoe, Benzema, I was talking about Henderson. Matip. I want to think about Matip quickly and just big him up. And, in a time where Van Dijk, rightfully so, gets his plaudits, Matip has actually been, for me, Liverpool's best defender this year. And I just wanted to take this moment, very brief moment, to actually just say that he's been unreal. And that's not to say that Van Dijk hasn't been good, because he has. But I think Matip, he's just, and they got him on a free, I think. And I think when they got him in, he wasn't even supposed to be like one of their main defenders. He was meant to be like a backup one, I think. But honestly, when I watch Matip play, I'm just like, do you know what? He's something else, man. And I just wanted to give him his flowers this year because, like I said, a lot of people, praise Van Dijk, and I get it. But I think Matip just offers you something else, and he complements Van Dijk so well. And it's such a shame for Gomez, because Gomez is a really, really good defender as well, but he ain't getting a look in because of, the form of Matip, and as well, Konate coming in. So, yeah, big up Matip, man. Shout him out every time. And also, before I wrap this up, Newcastle. I just want to shout out to Newcastle as well, and I'm actually happy that Newcastle are doing well, and it looks like they're gonna beat the drop. It looks like we're gonna see them in the Prem next year, because I actually feel like a healthy Prem includes Newcastle. There's just certain teams that just need to be in the Premier League. There's a certain team that just always have to be in the Premier League, and Newcastle is definitely one of them. And seeing them with the crowds and the atmosphere, seeing them win, I liked it. And I just wanted to touch on two things, though. Right, St. Maximin, yeah. Alan St. Maximin. Really, really, really good player. Really effective player. Problem. And I just think, though, when I watch him, and I don't know if it's just me, and this is just a slight thing, I feel like once he gets his end product really nailed down, then he's gone. He's gone. But I was watching the match yesterday, and it's happened a couple times where he does the hardest part of it all. He does it. He gets into such a good position, and in the last moment, that final pass or the shot or whatever will let him down a lot of the time. So, but that's just a slight thing. Everything else that he does is he's just a menace. So, I think once he just smoothens out the end product, honestly, Newcastle will have just got. I think they're gonna have a problem keeping him, or they're just gonna have a dangerous weapon, a dangerous one. And if Newcastle are gonna do what I think they're gonna do next, like in the summer, and really strengthen and bring in real quality, then they're gonna be a bit of a problem next year, bit of a problem. And Bruno Guimaraes, someone that I wanted Arsenal to get. showing his quality once again, you know, and yeah, Liverpool. Newcastle have a very, very good team, and it's looking promising for them. So big them up every time, man. And I think that is it. Yeah, I think that's it, man. It was just a quick one, guys. A quick pod because I was meant to have a guest this week, but yeah, we had to reschedule that one. And I do want to get back to just giving, you know, weekly hot takes and, you know, talking about current football stuff. Not every day have a guest, because I know people actually want to hear, you know, football related, you know, hot topic stuff. So yeah, man. That's it from me. Guys, keep liking, subscribing, sharing. If there's anything else you want me to do a video about or anything, put it in the comments and yeah, we'll get it done. But yeah, that's it from me. I'm out.